come to the United States. A 65-year-old British tourist with a valid tourist visa was locked up in ICE detention for 6 weeks with no idea why she was in there because she hadn't broken any laws. Because she wanted to get out of there, she had agreed after 3 days in detention for self-removal, which waived her right to see a judge and meant she couldn't return to the United States for up to 10 years. Karen Newton and her husband Bill didn't think that they would have any issues with ICE when they planned their road trip through the American West, but when they tried to cross into Canada, the Canadian officials told them they didn't have the right paperwork to take their car with them. So when they got sent back into the U.S. officials discovered that Bill's visa was expired. And here's the truly horrifying part. Karen was told that she was being locked up because she was guilty by association. She had violated the terms of her B-2 tourist visa by helping her husband pack for their trip. 6 weeks in prison. She didn't know when she was going to get out, didn't know what time of day it was, didn't know for most of the time how her husband was, didn't have a lawyer because she was detained and not arrested, and given a top bunk at age 65 that she couldn't get into, so she slept on the floor. And why in reality? Karen was told by multiple sources that ICE agents are given a bonus for every person that they detain.
That is crazy. It is honestly so heartbreaking that our system would waste resources detaining a grandmother for weeks over packing technicality instead of upholding the basic fairness and common sense that we, expect from a functional democracy. It's insane.
An innocent British grandmother was detained by ICE for 6 weeks in prison in shackles because, wait till you hear this story. This is sickening, guys, what we did and what the Brits did. The British government blew her off and left her alone. Karen Newton, 65-year-old grandmother, decided to take the trip of a lifetime. It's like freaking Westworld, the trip of a lifetime to America and Canada. So she goes with her husband, who's 66. They're retired. They go to the U.S. They go to Yellowstone. They see the geysers. They're so excited. They had so much fun. They decide to go to Canada. They get a car. They get to the border. And the Canadians say, "Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't fill out the right paperwork to bring a car across. We've got to send you back to America." So they turn around and the Americans say, "Wait a minute." And they check. The husband's visa had expired already, right? Now, bad that his visa expired. And she basically thought, oh, well, she goes, he's a Brit. Hopefully he'll be okay. But her visa was still fine, her tourist visa. Well, they grabbed both of them because she was his accomplice, they said. And she's like, accomplice? What did I do? They take them and imprison them for 6 weeks. Shackles. They put shackles on their wrists, shackles on their waist, shackles on their feet. You know the things where they're all handcuffed and the chain so you walk like a penguin? British grandmother. They imprisoned her for 6 weeks, didn't let her see her husband for 3 weeks, never once told her what she did. The only thing they said was, "You were his accomplice." She goes, "What do you mean I'm his accomplice?" She goes, "I've got my visa." They goes, "You helped him pack his luggage."
Dude,
guys,
that's crazy.
She slept on the floor of her prison cell for 6 weeks. And she said, and by the way, she said, don't go to this country. Don't ever go to America while Donald Trump is there. And she's right. I have warned people about this. People said, what's the worst that could happen? Well, the worst that could happen is you get detained for, and by the way, she wasn't arrested, so she doesn't get a lawyer. She didn't have a right to an attorney even because she wasn't arrested. She was just simply detained for a short while by ICE. And
that's crazy, man. It's so wild that we're shackling grandmothers and scaring off the rest of the world with these extreme, unnecessary tactics, as he points out, when we should be focused on a fair and common sense system that actually reflects our values. And this definitely is far from that.
Oh my God, you are not going to believe this. Did you know we've lost $21 billion so far in tourism just for 2025 in the USA alone? But guess what? Please don't shoot the messenger. Do you know that 2 senators have introduced a law begging for Canadians and Mexicans to come to the USA? You just heard me correctly. They're signing into law this, asking for Canadians and Mexicans to come to the USA, fearing that people are not going to come here for FIFA. They're not going to come here as tourists. Because why? They're boycotting the USA. Do you remember when Donald Trump said, we don't need Canada, and also tried to make them the 51st state? You heard me correctly. So now 2 senators are trying to introduce a law to beg Canadians and people from Mexico to come to the USA. No, 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 no. You cannot. You cannot make this up. We are on human rights watch list. We are rounding up brown people. We are putting people in concentration camps. They're not going to come here. I don't care what kind of law you sign into, what kind of legislation you introduce. Do you agree? This is so asinine. You can't even make this up. Are you coming here when we are asking for 5 years as your social media? We're rounding people up, just dropping them in detention centers, no due process? Yeah, no, I didn't think so. This is one of the most asinine things that I have heard of, and it's coming from one of my senators, Catherine Cortez Masto. So this is simply going to be a piece of paper. I'm so embarrassed to even make this post.
It's honestly a wake-up call, to see long-standing tour operators, like she's detailing in major travel groups, reporting massive cancellations just because our neighbors no longer feel safe or welcome visiting the U.S. I mean, if you think about it, we're basically driving billions in revenue to other countries by prioritizing pretty extreme tactics over the basic stability and essentially common sense that our economy actually needs to thrive. It's wild.
Washington Post spoke with a Canadian woman. Her name is Phyllis LeBlanc. She runs a company called PT Tours. She runs bus tours from Canada into the U.S. LeBlanc canceled previously scheduled tours, including one that she's been offering for over a decade. According to LeBlanc, the reason she did this was because Canadian customers were calling her and they were all canceling their trips. This started in late January, so LeBlanc ended up saying, forget it. She feared losing all of her hotel deposits. LeBlanc said that her customers, quote, were uncertain what was going to happen in the States. They didn't feel comfortable. With all the news going on, people are afraid. A travel agency called Flight Center Travel Group, also based in Canada, they reported a 40% decrease in bookings to the U.S. in the month of February. And they also had about 20% of their previously booked trips canceled. They said Canadians are choosing to go to Mexico, they're going to the Caribbean. So this is all driving down numbers in the U.S. This is destroying our tourism industry and everything related to it. The Washington
It really is such a massive bummer to see someone like Phyllis having to scrap tours that she's been running for seemingly over a decade just because our neighbors don't feel safe or welcome here anymore. And understandably, rightfully so. I mean, we're basically lighting tourism dollars on fire while Flight Center reports a 40% drop in bookings, all for the sake of an extreme approach that is clearly backfiring on our economy. And guess who that helps? No one. Anyways, if you enjoyed, make sure to stay in the loop and like and subscribe. Catch you in the next one.